Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back, and I hope you're doing fantastic out there. In this video today, we have another offering from H Calorie. This is a diesel air car parking heater. And as you can see, this is a different model. The last one that I reviewed had wheels and you could drag it around. It was really cool, very easy to transport and go into different areas. You could use it to heat a tent or your vehicle. In this video, we're going to take a look at model SS2. Product name, diesel air car parking heater. Materials, it's made out of metal and plastic. And the packing size, 460 millimeters by 310 millimeters by 370 millimeters. Gross weight is 8 kilograms. Now they say that this is useful in diesels, SUVs, new energy vehicles. You can use it in RVs, engineering vehicles, trucks, RV, tents, and you can even use it indoors down here on the bottom. Now, when you're going to use a diesel heater like this inside, you want to be making sure that you're taking care of yourself to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. So what I would suggest on something like this is that you put the unit outside and pipe the heat in. If you have the ability to do that. Now, sometimes you don't have the ability to do that, and the unit has to be inside. Maybe you're in a tiny house or something like that. You definitely, in that situation, want to make sure that the exhaust is effectively being piped outside. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to open this up. I'm very excited about this one. And I want to say thank you to H Calorie for sending this unit out for review. I think they make really good diesel heaters. I sure enjoyed the last one that I did. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link to that video in the description box down below. That heater was absolutely fantastic and I still use it a lot. So we're going to open this up, and the first thing that we see here on the top of the box is the user manual. There we have a look at the user manual. There is the table of contents. English is going to be up to 13 pages. So right there you have the function overview and the internal structure of the main heater itself. Right here you have some product information, dimensions and things like that. I think that's very cool. You can look at whichever number you're curious about and then correspond on this chart and find out what number each item is. So very cool. Right there is a structure diagram of the heater. AC/DC power supply, and then it talks about the remote control and operation instructions. So feel free to hit that pause button if this is any information that you might want to hang on to. Right here is more operating instructions. Very cool. And then right there, it's good to have this information because sometimes you can refer back to it. And that's why I take my time in the videos to make sure that the user manual can be easily seen. And then right here tells you how to match the remote control. Very nice. Bluetooth matching. There's those QR codes if you want to download the apps. Very cool that it has a Bluetooth function. We're almost done there, folks. We're almost done. Hang in there. Okay, right here. And then on page 12, we have the fault codes and how to fix them. So very cool. I like that they include that information. And we are about to see the last page, which is the contact information for support. You can send them an email if you need anything from hcalry@hcalry.com. So that's a nice little owner's manual. The next thing that we see here on the top is a little box. So this is how we're going to power the unit. We'll just open this up. So we have a power brick that has an input voltage of 100 to 240 volts, and it puts out 12 volt at 12 amp. So that's what that looks like. On one end it plugs into a standard household current. You have the box itself with an indicator light, and then the other end has this plug. I like this because this power brick can also work on the unit that has the wheels with this port here. So I think this is fantastic. Don't get this confused with those computer cables that are 110 volts. You don't want to accidentally plug that in. And you can see that this has like a little T plug right here. So I don't think that's even possible to plug that in, but I'm just giving you a fair warning on that. Don't do that. Let's get this out of the box. There it comes out just like so. And you can see that it was packaged very well. Very nice foam and stuff, so they protect it for shipping. Comes in this little bag. Very cool. More foam stuff. And then of course in the bottom of the box, there's this little bunch of stuff. Okay, let's open this bundle up. So right here, we have this plug, and then it says DC. So if you wanted to plug this into maybe a lithium iron phosphate battery, you could do that. Very cool. This will plug right into the unit, and then you have a positive and a negative wire. And the brown one has a little tag that says DC positive. Hopefully you can see that. So the brown one's positive, the blue one is negative. You also have a couple pipe clamps there. You've got a muffler and a mounting bracket and a couple screws that are self-drilling. And then lastly, just your standard exhaust pipe. So right here, we're taking a look at the unit, and as you can see on the top, you have a really nice solid handle. You got these two little sections here that open, and in one side you have a remote control, so you have on, off, up or down. So I think that's neat. And then on this other side, you have another box that opens, and this looks like it's the actual controller. It's got some foam in there, and the wires just go right down into the unit, and you can close this. That is pretty cool. If you look at the side of the unit here, you can see where the heat output is. On the back of the unit, you got these big heavy-duty hinges. Very nice. And then of course you have the exhaust port, and they put this little plastic on there for shipping so that you don't get stuff in there. But that's the exhaust. On this other side, you have the air input and the voltage input. And then of course you got this little tag. So again, feel free to hit that pause button if you want to read any of that information. Let's get a little closer for that smaller one. So then on the front, you can see that there's these nice buckles here. You can open this unit up, and it opens just like a toolbox, and then there is access to your fuel tank and the diesel heater itself. So very cool, very neat looking unit. It looks like this thing was very well thought out. I like this because you can grab this thing and carry it. Now looking at the bottom, a couple things that I want to make note of is you don't need to run any kind of air intake because they have a coarse filter right here. It'll keep the large debris from coming into the unit. You also have the fuel line here, and it's away from the heat. I like that they put this little 90-degree on here for the exhaust. I think that's very cool. They've got it mounted, and the build quality of this looks very nice. These feet are just raised hard plastic feet. They're not rubber, they're just a hard plastic foot, and this looks like a really self-contained, easy to operate unit. I can't wait to fire it up and see what it does. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and put some fuel in it. Okay, I've got it full of fuel. I just use standard diesel fuel. We'll just close this down. I love the way this clamps down. We're going to go ahead and insert our power, which is already plugged in. Plug it in. And now let's get the exhaust connected, just like that. I got this little brick here so that it keeps everything safe. Now let's add our muffler, and that'll keep it all protected, and we're good to go on that side. And if you look underneath the unit, you can see that there's plenty of space underneath where it's not going to burn whatever it's sitting on. So they did a good job making these legs the right height. I like what they did there. Now, one thing that I really like about this unit is you can easily visually see the level of fuel that's in this 6-liter fuel tank. Now, this remote does not come with lithium batteries. It requires 2 CR2025 batteries. So if you're going to get one of these units, make sure you get those CR2025 batteries. I'm just going to leave the remote in that little spot there. And now let's open this one and let's pay attention to this control switch. Now to start the unit, it's really simple. We're going to just push this power button right here.
Start heating.
Start heating, it says. This blue indicator illuminating is telling us that we have cool air coming in, and then red is going to be warm air coming out. Now this unit has 2 different modes that you can work with. You can work with what they call work mode, and you can also work with temperature control mode. Now to switch between work mode and temperature control mode, it's very easy. We're just going to press this button with the gear on it. Right now, you can see that we are now in work mode. There's a series of indicators here that are telling us the temperature range that we're aiming for. So you can increase or decrease this temperature, and you can go anywhere from 1, which is all the way at the bottom. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 10. So 10 is the highest that you can achieve in the work mode. So if you want it hot, you put it on 10 or 6 or anything like that. So that's work mode. And then of course, if you want to go to temperature control mode, again, it's really simple. We just push this button. In temperature control mode, the set temperature can be adjusted within the range of 8 degrees to 36 degrees centigrade. The gear position of the control switch, which is this down here, this changes with the temperature inside the cab. When the temperature rises or decreases, the control switch will automatically adjust the operating gear to reach the set temperature quickly, making the heater operate more intelligent and economical. Now the cool thing about that is when you set a temperature, it's kind of like using a thermostat. So let me show what that looks like. You just push here, you'll see the temperature, and then you can increase or decrease the temperature based on what you want. If you go below what the temperature of the room is, this unit will automatically shut down, and then when it drops below that requested temperature, it will turn itself back on. So the room temperature currently is 33 degrees centigrade. So if I push this button and go back to here, I want it to come up to 36 degrees centigrade. This unit is going to adjust accordingly, as you can see here on the gear selectors here. So it's very cool how this works. Now I like going into the gear mode simply for the sake of showing you what the unit looks like when it works. So we're just going to listen. You can hear the internal combustion, you can hear the pump, and this thing is firing up. Let me set this controller down for a second. We'll take a closer look. I can feel a little bit of heat. I'm looking at the exhaust pipe and I don't see any discolored smoke or anything like that. It's a pretty clean unit. And this thing will fire up and it'll get going, and it'll get going nice and hot. I mean, these diesel heaters generate a lot of heat, and it's really good, clean, dry heat that they put out. Make sure that you have ventilation in wherever you're running these heaters. And you can hear that the unit is ramping up its power. It's getting hotter, it's running harder. The fan is increasing. You can hear the intensity of the heat coming out. I can feel it against my body as I'm standing behind this camera. Now again, if you want to decrease, you can just push it down and that gear selection will go down, and then you'll listen to the unit and it'll respond. Within a couple of seconds, it'll start responding to what the gear is doing. So we're ramping up right now, but now you'll start to hear it starting to come back down. And these diesel heaters, they don't respond fast. They take a little time to go up and they take a little time to come down. That's just the way these things are designed. See, you can hear that it's adjusting now. It's slowing down the pump. It's slowing down the fans. You can hear less intensity in the heat. And again, we are in the gear mode. So if I want to enter the basic settings, I'm just going to hold down this gear button for 3 seconds. And now you'll see FO. This is the current time. If you want to change the current time, you can push the gear and you can see that it flashes up or down. So let's just say it's 5 o'clock. That'd be 1700, right? So we're going to take the minutes down. 1700. There we go. We'll push the gear again and that locks it in. Now you can go up or down in the menus. So if we go up, we're going to go to F1. That is the self-start time. F2 is the running time. F3 is the self-start switch setting. F4 is the language setting, and we're in English right now. F5 is the temperature compensation. F6 is the size of the gas tank. So we're going to actually change that. Even though this unit has a 6-liter gas tank, it doesn't give us a lot of options. It gives us 5 liters or nothing. So we're going to go with 5 liters. We'll push the button here, and now we have adjusted the gas tank size to 5 liters. F7 is the oil pump type, and the default is 22U. F8, this is pretty interesting. This is the automatic start or stop heating switch. So when you're in temperature control mode, when the cab temperature reaches the set temperature, it will automatically shut down after a delay of 30 seconds. And when the cab temperature is 2 degrees centigrade lower than the set temperature, it will automatically start up after a 30-second delay. So we want to make sure that that's on. If we want to turn it off, we'll just push the gear and then we can change that to off, but we're going to leave that on. Push the gear again, and that is what F8 is. F9 is the Bluetooth pairing. I have that turned off. FA is the remote control switch where you can match that switch. And then my favorite is this next one. This is FB. So this is cool because this is where you can change from centigrade to Fahrenheit. So if I push this button, look at that. We can change our degree from centigrade to Fahrenheit. Push that one time, and that's basically all the settings in the menu. When you're done, you can push and hold this gear for 3 seconds, and it'll go back to the normal screen. So again, right now we are in the gear mode. Again, if we want to ramp the heat up, we'll just ramp it up. We have 1 through 10. You can hear everything increasing and decreasing. I usually leave it about halfway. And again, if we want to switch to the temperature control mode, we'll just do that. And then we're going to adjust our temperature. We'll see what the room temperature is, 93.2. So let's say we want to set that for just above that, 93.2. We'll set that, right? We'll leave that alone. And here in a second, this unit's going to turn itself off because the room temperature now matches the set temperature. If we want to turn the unit off, we can do that from either work mode. So we can do it from gear mode or from temperature control mode. And all we'll do is push this button one time. I did not touch that button. It turned itself off on its own. I just pushed my finger there. I didn't push the button. It turned itself off because we got to our desired temperature. And as the temperature in the room decreases, this thing will kick back on and it'll fire itself back up. And just like any diesel heater, the shutdown time takes a little bit of time because you have to cool this stuff down. The fan, I can still feel the heat coming through. It's just a process that it goes through. So the unit is going through its shutdown sequence. I can still feel the fan. And it takes a little bit of time, so I have to be patient. And if you look at the screen, you'll see that it's telling us that it's going through that shut-off cycle. So now this unit is pretty much shut down, and it's just waiting for the room temperature to drop. And once that happens, the unit is going to turn itself back on automatically. And I can push the power button.
Stop heating. Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
So from here, if I want to turn the unit back on, the cool thing about this is it will remember which work mode you were in.
Start heating.
Start heating. I'm going to switch to the gear mode, and we'll just ramp these gears up all the way, and we'll just use that setting. Now I can put this controller down in here, lay it down nice and flat, close the door, and it'll protect the controller. And then from here we can enjoy our nice warm diesel heater heat. So right now you can see that I have the other H-Cal reheater. This is the one that has the wheels and the little handle that comes out. This one is fantastic for taking camping because you can drag it around. You can put it outside your vehicle and run pipe from here into your vehicle, into your tent, things like that. But look at the size difference between this unit and this other one. I really like the size of this unit. It's much more compact. Very small unit, and I'm impressed. I mean, it works fantastic. Both of these units work absolutely fantastic. Another feature that this unit has that I forgot to mention is this fuel gauge right here. So anytime you open this up and you top off the fuel, you can tell the computer that the fuel tank is full. To do that, you're going to push and hold this center button for a few seconds. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, and now you've just basically told it that the fuel tank is full. So you can do that every time you top it off, and then it'll give you a visual indicator without having to look at the sight glass here. On the controller, you can see how much fuel approximately you have. We are in the gear mode. I'm going to reduce it down to about there, maybe 3 bars. And whenever you're finished, you can just push the power button. Stop heating, it says. And then it goes through its cool down sequence, just like the other diesel heaters. And it takes a few minutes. And look at this. It says H Cavalry on the top. That's pretty cool. Nice little unit here. I like this. It's very well thought out. You can see that it says off, and then that will blink until the shutoff is completely done, and it'll give you one more audible sound. So at that point you can then disconnect from the power source if you need to. But don't disconnect from the power source prematurely, or you could actually damage the unit. They must go through their cool down cycle. These are both fantastic heaters. I really like this one because it has the rubber wheels and the extendable handle. You can bring this handle out and drag it behind you just like you're at the airport carrying your luggage. It's very, very efficient, very effective. I like that both of these units are compact units. They're designed for portability. You can get them and move them around. They're not heavy, so you don't have to be a muscle-bound person to use either of these units. I love the handle that they put on this toolbox type heater. It's absolutely fantastic. I like the fact that these units have exhaust coming out of the side of them, and I also love the fact that they have the little air filter underneath, so you don't have to worry about routing an air inlet pipe. It takes a lot of the work away, and that's one of the reasons these are so cool and so easily portable. The AC/DC power adapter that comes with both of these units is also very, very nice. It makes it easy to run them on things like this little portable power station over here. Again, increasing the ability for these devices to be very portable. They don't take a lot of wattage to run. At the highest, they take about 120, maybe 150 watts at the max. And that's nothing for a little unit like this little 500 watt X-Star. They work very well. Another thing that's really nice about these units being small and compact is the fuel lines don't have to run very far inside of the units. And that's cool too, because you don't have to spend a lot of time priming the system. And also, they don't really need a fuel filter. So very, very cool the way these are designed. Well, folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video. I hope you enjoyed it.